And good Thursday morning on June 24th. It's episode 245 of the 359 podcast, and another packed house today. Alfred, Ben Fox, Rubin, and Josh freaking Goldman.
Josh Goldman is in the house.
Goldman.
For his debut.
It is
on the
debut.
359. It took us
Nobody lets me talk to the
It took
public.
us 244 episodes, but we finally got it right and decided to invite Josh Goldman
Thank
to
you.
talk about the iPad Pro and Surface Pro, which you spent, like 4 days delving into the differences between these two devices?
Yeah, not really. Just some writer's block.
Let's just say it took it.
So we're going to spend most of our time talking about that story, which Josh published today, and then we'll wrap it up with Fireball, which is a malware. It's actually not new. It's from 2015, but there's some new news about it.
Basically, a security firm found out about it in like June 1st, and now Microsoft's saying that it didn't infect as many computers as it did before. So when they found out about it, it was like 250 million computers were infected by this. Microsoft came out with a report today with some data that they've been tracking it since 2015 and saying, nah, it's probably more like 5 million, which is still a lot. So
let's get to the podcast. As always, send in your questions and comments. BVG will get to as many as he can at the end of the show. Without further ado, let's make podcast history.
For the uninitiated, we are going to record 4 minutes worth of valuable, questionable information, and then after that, we open it up to Q&A. So you're free to hang out with us, or you are free to move on with your lives after 4 minutes. But until then, you're stuck. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. From 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ing.
And with us today is special guest, ace reviewer, and generally awesome dude, Josh Goldman.
Hey
Thanks
there.
for coming.
Thank you.
So, Josh, you spent a couple days delving into the differences between Apple's iPad Pro and Microsoft's Surface Pro. I wanted to start by asking you about operating systems. I got the impression from your story that if you wanted to do a lot of like heavy lifting and multitasking, the Surface Pro was the clear winner here.
Right, absolutely. That's basically because it's a full OS. It's the desktop OS on a tablet, whereas the mobile iOS on the iPad is still working in an app world where everything's locked down and you can't really get to what you want to get to.
Okay, so if that's the case, like, why would I want an iPad? Like, what are like the clear advantages of the iPad? Like, for instance, you mentioned security was one of them.
Right, so because it's all walled garden and everything, you don't have to worry about getting... you don't have to worry about installing that executable that comes in through your email or installing some sort of application that maybe you shouldn't have installed that's now stealing your information and giving it to, I don't know, who does the information go to?
I don't know, some hacker in Russia most of the time.
So, I mean, that's part of it. Well, what did I find out? Battery life. iPad is much better on battery life.
Yeah, like considerably more so, right?
Yeah, like nearly twice.
That's pretty
twice the
awesome.
battery life.
But
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, why is this even a debate as far as like the Surface Pro and the iPad Pro if one is clearly a full functioning like laptop that you can do work on? Like one's like a real
Because
computer.
we had to write a story because it was like Thursday. We
What
had
he
to
said,
write something.
Yeah. I mean, there is really that's it. If you need a full computer, you're going to go with the Surface Pro. If you can live in an app ecosystem where everything you do can be done on an iPad, then you can go with an iPad. And frankly, so they both started at $800 for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro and the Surface Pro, which has a 12.3-inch screen. They both started at that $800 price point. And you can actually, if you can live in that app ecosystem of Apple, it's a better deal because in order to get more power, you're going to have to spend a lot more money on the Surface Pro. And that's not even including the fact that neither of them include the keyboard or pen.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The Surface Pro can go up as high as like over $2,000, which means that like people are probably going to be using it for like some pretty intense stuff if they're going to be spending that much on a laptop.
Right, and that's it. And that's
sorry,
what it
on
is.
a tablet.
Exactly. So that's where you're basically getting into the point where it's just, if you're spending that much money, you're either using that as a laptop and you're spending more money on the keyboard and the pencil, or the pen for the Surface, or you're going to be able to do everything on an iPad. So
also we wanted to get to some more news. There's some news about a big malware attack called Fireball, which can take over your computer's browser. A security company claimed 250 million devices were infected. But Alfred, you said that Microsoft claims it was actually a lot less than that, right?
So yeah, Microsoft said it was more so about 5 million. So the way that this malware is called Fireball, the way that it worked was that it infected your browser and it basically changed your homepage and your default search engine to a fake website where then they raked in the revenue like from advertisements on that website. So they made a ton of money off of that. Had about 250 million visits, but Microsoft is basically saying, look, like visits doesn't mean that it's infected. I can go to the same website multiple times. It doesn't mean my computer's been infected that many times.
So it's a problem, but not as big a problem as the security company was claiming.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, if you want to read more about these stories, check them out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
And Josh, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
There's an entire show going on in the chat right now that we
Sweet.
have nothing to do with.
Whoa, nice. What are they
Good.
talking
I feel like
about?
we should
It's a
just.
spin-off
I wish I
series.
could just dial in everybody right now, and just the comment section is just way better than our actual podcast.
Oh, hey. I have
They
to
should
be
get their
here.
own show.
They should. Everyone in here should start their own podcast called the 953.
We
I
should
don't know.
just
Something
do
like that.
dramatic readings of these comments, like just print it out as a script.
Do it.
If we ever get,
it's
we need like
Thursday.
a good celebrity voice to do something like that, though.
Right, like the captain from...
We did notice you. Sorry, I'm reading the comments.
So the long and short of what I'm pulling out of this beautiful mess is some people like one, some people like the other.
Yeah, no kidding.
Some people like both.
Some people like both.
Some people like none.
Oh,
Whoa.
my God.
It's absolutely earth-shattering.
We need to make like a pie chart for this.
Well, that was partly admittedly, I don't use a lot of tablets. That's why I wanted to have Josh on. If we wanted to talk about Amazon Fire tablets, those are the ones that I actually have a lot of more experience
where was
with.
the Fire tablet
do
on
you
this
think,
list?
And I was thinking about this after you told me to come on here. Do you think Amazon would ever make a competitor to this?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, after they decided to buy Whole Foods, I'm not going to, like, put anything against them and say, no, there's no way Amazon would ever do this. But, you know, their position in the market that they're very well known for, particularly with devices, is the lower tier, like, the cheaper stuff that's
where I buy
better
them.
than you would
But-
expect it to be for $50.
But they could do that for, well, it wouldn't be $50, but they could do that with this. They could make one that's in, you know,
What, on Fire OS? What apps would you be able to download on that?
Like,
you
none
know,
of them.
all
yeah,
those,
all the Office apps, right? On Fire.
all those, and there's the things.
I would.
The
I mean,
games.
I had
they've
There's
tried-
games, and you could shop. You could shop. Well,
Yeah,
They
that's
would
what I
love
do.
it if you
That's
shop
what
on
I do.
anything,
I do that at work all the time. I had a quick question about your security point, though. With you're saying the iPad Pro has the advantage because it has the walled garden kind of approach to it. I mean, isn't that advantage really just going to be cut off once Windows 10s comes out?
Yes, but you're talking about millions of apps in the Apple App Store compared to
All 10.
that you'd want to use in
Yeah.
the Microsoft one. So yeah, eventually, if they can, I mean, they got Apple on board, so because iTunes is going to be in that store. So maybe with that, they'll be able to get other people in, and then yeah, once that's running, Windows 10s. You would have a walled garden, but right now this is Windows 10 Pro because they're aiming at people who are going to install their own software.
Yeah.
They want like full Adobe stuff. And
When I wrote my Fireball story, there was like part of the blog post from Microsoft is like obviously they had to like plug themselves in, where it's like this like Microsoft Edge is not affected by this browser hack, and also you can't get this virus if you have Windows 10s. So that was like their little like pat on the back for themselves on this whole Fireball thing.
right, but nobody wants to use those things.
So one of the things that I also thought was pretty interesting that I learned from your story was that with the iPad Pro, you can, even though it doesn't have like the, like the file manager stuff and you can't, multitask multiple apps, different things like that you could do with the Surface Pro.
Right.
It's still powerful enough to do, as you mentioned, huge spreadsheets and presentations, 3D modeling, 4K video editing.
Yeah,
Which, so it's not just a toy. Like it does earn its pro name is what I'm getting at.
And I say you see a lot of the comments, like I said, that are all, oh, the iPad is just a toy. The Surface Pro is a real computer.
It is a real computer.
It's a real. They're both real computers. It's just that one's more capable than the other.
Well, the
at
iPad.
doing things,
I mean, do you consider the iPad Pro a computer though? I still
the
look at it as a
iPad? That's,
tablet.
I mean, it
it's
is
a
a
tablet
computer.
computer.
Yeah. All right.
That thing's pretty powerful.
I
It's-
also
Yes.
liked Josh Goldman's
phone is really
impression
powerful.
of
I don't
Alec
call it a
Baldwin.
computer.
that was my Alec Baldwin.
That was your Alec Baldwin doing Donald Trump on SNL being a tech reviewer.
Would pay money to see that.
Yeah, you just saw it.
All right, so something that sparked a little controversy in the chat was somebody brought up the Chromebook, and
what's that?
That really polarized a handful of people.
That's a
there.
good point. That's a good point. The Chromebook could have definitely been thrown into this, but that's more of like a laptop. I mean, like it doesn't have a, it's not a 2-in-1. It doesn't have a removable
but there
keyboard.
are
And there's a lot of
2-in-1s.
them that are like that though.
There are 2-in-1s.
There are 2-in-1 Chromebooks.
Yes,
Thank you.
but nobody. I'm not nobody, but
It's not what they're known for, but yeah.
right yet. It's gonna all change as soon as Google gets the apps all working.
I mean, aren't there like
the
way
Android
more
apps?
Aren't there like way more Chromebooks in schools than there are,
Children.
yes. All the children are actually Chrome, but like aren't there like more Chromebooks in schools than like there are Microsoft or Apple like devices? Not devices,
I don't.
computers.
I've never done the count myself.
I mean,
They've
but-
definitely pulled
but
in
I thought that was the
huge
whole
market
point
can
of like
speak-
Windows 10s.
Anecdotally, for my kids' schools, is that they are currently switching over from iPads to Chromebooks.
Yeah, and
so
I think where they've got everyone else beat is like on the price point.
yep.
There, and if we're talking about like if you're okay with living in like an app centric world, I like if I'm gonna do that, I don't want to spend like $800 something for that. I'd rather like pay like an average Chromebook price, which I believe is like $250 or something.
Right.
Is it that low?
It's $130 if you get like the
if you-
super
awesome.
low end version.
Yeah, but if you're buying in bulk for a school
Yeah.
district,
It's
the
even less
prices
than
get
that.
lower.
They
Yeah.
pay you,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I don't know that that's true, but yeah, they get cheap. So
But yeah, that's a very good point from the chat.
I'm
Thrown
broke.
in Chromebooks,
Speaking of the chat, we should probably try to get to a few questions before the day gets out.
of course.
I just have to. The chat is getting kind of meta right now. I had to address
the
this.
chat has become sentient.
Yes, I have to address this comment from Rajamanakam, who says, "Just curious how this live chat is not flooded with junk. Is it moderated?" For the record, it used to be flooded with junk, and it can still be on.
Yeah,
period.
sorry.
But by and large, we attract only the highest caliber of fan base on this
The
show.
greatest fans of all time.
Danny Green says, "Our boy
What's
Danny
up,
Green.
Danny Green?
DG.
I saw a Surface Pro teardown over the weekend. You pretty much have to destroy it to try and get an upgrade. How have we not done?
What do you mean get an upgrade?
Like if you
Like,
want to
I thought
change hardware
Yes.
internally.
Yeah, I saw that. It was basically like it got rated like a 0 on like the fixability scale of it after like a
I
breakdown.
mean, like, come on, that makes sense though, because like to make those tablets, you have to like they're super thin and they're mostly glued together. I think so.
I hate that like all devices have like started moving toward that. Like I remember being able to replace my keyboard and my speakers, like literally everything on my laptop just by taking it apart. And now it's gotten to a point where it's like, well, what you buy is what you get, like kind of thing. I absolutely hate that. That's like
That
where
is
it's moved to.
the easiest way to get you to buy a new device.
I'm aware, and I
unfortunately.
hate that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back into some more chat. Matthew Datcher says, Josh has a great voice. Does he do narrations?
He can.
I don't, but thank you.
And what's up, Matthew Datcher? Thanks for the question.
He's actually my voicemail message. So.
This is Alfred.
That could happen. Don't joke. I could do it for you if you want. I don't.
David Morgan says, guys, calm down. The Amazon Fire Phone is the best phone, hands down. Oh,
The best phone.
Yeah, hands down, as in you put it down.
I've never used one. Has anybody in this room used
don't
one?
think
has
I've ever
anyone
used
in this
it.
earth used
Has
one?
anyone
Yes.
seen one?
We've seen it.
It's like a
and
unicorn.
I think you can still probably get it off of Amazon or eBay for about 3 cents. So yeah, I'll probably buy one and try it out.
Yeah. That's one of
Yeah,
those
why not?
ones you turn away from your friends to use.
I mean, wait, didn't Samsung have like a Fire Phone last year though?
Ha ha ha.
Oh,
Moving on.
It took me a second. That was a
Good night, everybody.
good one. Speaking of, it's coming in, right? The
Yes.
note-
Yeah,
it's coming in
not
August.
to change.
Yes.
Not change topics, but
Yeah.
We will talk about it
It
extensively.
is something to get
I'm
excited
sure.
about, but I don't think we have much to talk about as of right now.
right.
As of, you
So,
know,
As
maybe.
at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will do many rumor roundups over what that Note 8 will look
that's
like.
the best part of this job.
One last little meta comment between Diego and Amadou. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. They're going back and forth about how much they want the red chair behind Josh.
Oh, yeah. It's a very nice red
They
chair.
say it's completely stolen the show. So on that note,
the
I'm going to step down and let this take over.
Listen, I would,
Josh
I
will be
will
joining us
The
next
chair
time, and
59.
we'll chair.
readily admit that the inanimate carbon rod that is that chair.
We should give that chair
has
away on
more
like a 1,000th
charisma.
episode.
We should, absolutely.
Like a
okay,
sweepstake for the
that
chair.
We're writing it either 500th or 1,000th episode. We will give away the red chair.
Shipping's gonna be a pain.
The chair that's
The red chair is my
perpetually
father. No.
empty. All right, so let's have a serious one. HSJ said, I'm sorry, but I didn't see the exact name. Let's remind them the security issue was called Fireball.
Fireball, yes.
Like the drink.
Yes.
Or the Hadouken. Like, just it's a fireball,
Street Fighter.
dude.
Why do we invite you on the show?
Let's get a quick refresher, company, about what the Fireball was for those who maybe came in late.
All
'Cause
right.
This is
Yeah.
actually valuable information
So-
as opposed to a string around.
So on June 1st, a security company called Checkpoint released a report saying they found a Chinese hacking operation.
marketing company,
Yes, it's a
right?
marketing company. That's who they're accusing it of being behind this. Where it's a malware called Fireball, where it comes to your device if you download it through like software bundling. So if you try downloading like a movie illegally or like music or a video game. There's chances are it comes in through that, like just, bad downloads. And then it basically infects your browser. So nothing really on your, hardware itself, but on your browser. And then it changes your browser's like homepage and your search engine. And then it takes you to like a bunch of different fake websites. And they're all mostly search engines. But the way that it works is that this marketing company, they get the views based off of that, and then they get money based off of those views, off of the ads that are on those websites. And they're basically fake Google, because like you'll go on the fake search engine and you'll type in like whatever you're looking for, and then it'll give you Google results anyway. Like it'll redirect you to that. So you kind of get what you want anyway. They get the money. You just end up using this terrible website.
So just to be clear, too, this is not as insidious as like a ransomware,
No.
like WannaCry
But
per
the-
se. But if you've got malware on your computer,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing. It could
But
turn
the
bad.
issue is that it could have downloaded ransomware, because once it has control of your browser, it can do a lot more than just redirecting you to a website. If anything, it could have downloaded other malware. So it, theoretically, it could have like installed ransomware if it wanted to. And that was the issue that a lot of people had with it, where it was like basically this could have been really bad, and it got on all these devices. But all it did was really just go on like this, like, because they were trying to be low key about it. They wanted to just keep making money, as opposed to if it installed ransomware, then it would have been, you wouldn't be going to that website still. You'd be trying to get rid of it. So they were trying to be hidden about
Yeah,
it.
good. I'd like to get in on that deal. That
so
sounds like a pretty sweet business
It had
model.
about 250 million page views just off of their like fake websites. But they kind of misconstrued it as that's 250 million devices that have been infected. So Microsoft came out with a report today saying that they had been tracking this for a while now, actually, since like 2015 or so. And it's only been on about 5 million devices, which is still pretty bad, but it's been like logged into like their Windows Defender program. So if you have it, it should be able to like blacklist it.
Nice.
Thank
you.
you for that.
Thank you for that info.
Oh, we got serious for a second.
Yeah, it was
no,
very.
it seems like a more polite way to steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not taking your
They're
money.
stealing from advertisers.
Right.
They're not
right.
taking your
Those
money.
guys suck.
They should have called it the Robin Hood. That would have been a way better name than the Fireball.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Well, they're not,
They're-
you don't know if they're
Fireball.
giving to
Yeah,
the
we don't know
poor.
that-
They're a marketing agency.
Giving it to ourselves.
It's not-
Halfway down the line.
Right.
All right, so before we do wrap it up, we have a slightly off-topic question from Yusuf, but he's been very adamant about getting this answered. So
What's up, Yusuf?
We should address this. What do you guys think about Bixby Voice? I've been using it a lot since it came out, and I'm a big fan. Hit or miss, in your opinion?
Okay, good question. I haven't used Bixby Voice that
Have
much.
any
but-
of you guys?
I have not
Bix.
used Bixby.
Bix.
Bixby.
Bix.
They needed the
Bixby
X
is
in
something
there.
else.
They,
All right,
they,
all right.
they purposely put the X in there in the name because it like most voice recognition like software, like if you have an X sound in it, that's why Alexa like also has that. It's easier for them to pick it up.
So either way, I haven't tested.
Explain Cortana.
Ask Microsoft. That was from Halo.
Was it?
Yeah, the
Oh, all right.
voice assistant in Halo is named Cortana, and they named it after her.
That's what I get for not being a gamer.
So to answer the question, I haven't tested it that much, but in general, from what I know about it, it does not have nearly as many capabilities as Cortana, Siri, or Alexa. Maybe it will get
Because
there.
it's still young.
It's still young, and I think that the real potential for it is smart home integration with a lot of other Samsung products, but we're not really quite there yet. I don't think that that's going to happen quite yet.
I don't know about the smart home integration. I know that when they were like advertising it was more so basically instead of being like a smart assistant like Google Assistant or Siri or Cortana or Alexa or anyway, it wasn't supposed to be like a search assistant. It wasn't supposed to be like, hey, how's the weather, or
Right.
where's this restaurant. It was supposed to help you navigate your phone itself. So if it was something like turn the volume down, or if I wanted to change the language on the phone, or like go to this photo that I took on July whatever, that was the idea of it. It was supposed to be an assistant for the device itself, not
Right, and it sounds from the commenter that seems to be doing that job pretty well. I would argue that strategically they did that, and I've said this before on the podcast, because it can't go toe-to-toe with Google Assistant, which I would argue is probably the best one right now.
Right, and I think the problem is that it got confused early on as an assistant, and people are like, oh, this doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and I can't even pronounce the name right.
Yeah, true.
Bixby.
You know,
I'm
really insulted by that name only because they had two other names that tested better with their like little test audience or whatever, and they picked Bixby because it tested the best among millennials.
You're a millennial.
And I'm like, how? In what universe? Like, what test audience is this? We're like, yeah, Bixby. I'm like, I really want to know what the other two names were that they like decided to
Test
say.
audiences that thought the Incredible Hulk was hip and ironic.
I didn't know that.
Bill Bixby, the actor, the obscure actor. He's real big in Brooklyn right now.
Oh, no,
He is very big in Brooklyn.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
All right, good.
That's the only reference point I've got, so I'm going to keep going to it because I know comics.
Why is it? Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, so probably about time to wrap it up. We're gone way over time today, but it's been really fun.
Yeah, and this was a nice another week of podcasts. So,
it's time for us to wrap up the whole week.
Okay.
Ben, bring us home.
All right. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. And in the meantime, the 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, and
CNET.com.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
Just finish it yourself, man.
And thank you to Josh for coming on the show this week.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
It's very exciting.